Alright guys, what's up? It's Mastermind of Right here, and today I'm going to do a little bit of overview and explanation of me creating a WoW 3D art render. I've listed the several softwares and plugins that I use, and it's all categorized by free and paid along with a little bit of a description of what it does. So I've sped up the cumulative about 11 hours footage to somewhere around 30 minutes, and I'm going to do my best explaining each step that I do, but there will be obvious cuts and there'll either be me taking a break from working on it, or the computer crash due to the heavy workload being recording the screen and doing the 3D stuffs. But I hope you can understand and bear with it. So first of all, I import a character from Wowhead to the WoW viewer, and I select the masses that I want to appear and deselect those that I don't want. And I open a CASCExplorer to find the textures. I don't usually do this step, but I don't know, I really need to, because there's some stuff that I want to select personally later in the Photoshop. And CASCExplorer exports as BLP, so I use BLP converter and XNView to make them a PNG. Now I open up the Photoshop and create a texture that I wanted. Well, I'm creating a little bit of customize. I want the code, but under the code I want it to be the metal stuffs. And well, I open up the Cinema 4D to see if it does meet my expectations of how it's supposed to look. Now, and yep, right now I'm just fixing it to my desires. I want the code to connect back there, and right now I'm looking for the Stormwind, but I have a hard time finding this one. I don't know why, I just can't find it at first. I kept looking for the file name, but to no avail. But of course I eventually found it. And I refixed some masses back there because something's not sitting right. And it's me exporting the eye patch, turning it around. I want to add some scars, so and here I open up waifu and Topaz AI Gigapixel to upscale. These two are my special weapons, you can say. It really makes the pixelated WoW textures into something really smooth and awesome. And now I'm exporting some facial expressions because I'm too lazy to create it on my own. I decided to combine the yes emote and the stand something back there. So I match the position of each bones right here. You can see the mouth are starting to move around. And on the right you can see I created a little bit of a guide that I made myself to actually memorize like which bone is which. But every race or every models have their own bone naming, so it's not really all usual. And here I'm starting to create a very simple rig because I'm not going to animate it, so since it's only for posing, I made it very simple just to be able to move every part. sure to color it so I can differentiate it. Now I add some forester tree. I initially planned to make him leaning to the tree, but I decided to change that. Now I can't get the right fit to work properly, and eventually I'll add like a rock there. Like you can see there's a rock there to make it look more natural. And here's the landscape coming. And some grass. I use Octane render for the render because it's real good. Now I'm fixing the HDRI. I wanted to make it color like I want to. And I'm actually mixing two HDRI here. I want the sun there and also want the starry sky on the background. Now I'm adding like a crystal on his hand. Now fixing the fingers. It's quite annoying actually. The fingers in World of Warcraft have quite a unique stuff. I'm using a turbulence FT to create like a fire there. Now you can see my Sim 40 crash back there. It kind of happened a lot of time. You can see me fixing the HDRI more and more. I try to add like a sunlight from the other side so that it won't be too dark, but I can't really find the right position for the light. Now I add some flowers and fix the textures for the grass, the materials I mean. Add some randomize. Now the material for the tree. It's been coming to the part where my renderer does not want to render because the scene is too heavy to load. It's not yet a big issue, but it'll be short. Now I'm adding more texture for the background and the rocks and also the terrain. I'm messing up with the exposure and gamma as well as the white point to create like a little bit of color correction actually you can say, and make it look better. I added a bit of purple tint because I don't know, I'm just feeling it. I'm doing like a cloud simulation actually, but I use it for hair. No, it's not really working as I wanted to, but I add wind to create some kind of illusion. Oh, I ended up removing the cloud. eventually, but well, I mean, I also need to experiment. It's me fixing the color of the fire. Alright, now comes the texturing part. Now, fix the eyes, and I'm I'm looking for the references back there to mask. Masking is about the most time-consuming part of texturing. You can see me here painting areas. It took me like a long time. I usually use either brightness and contrast or hue and saturation to help me mask stuff faster. Like, actually it's not masking faster, it helps you see like which part is masked in and which part is not. So really helpful technique actually. Now I turn the mask to black and white to make sure that there's no areas that I don't want to be masked. And usually there will be like small cafes, like you'll see it on some masks later, like for masks that are not square or um, it's hard to explain. Like you'll see. It's like here, like you can see those little lines, like the small lines. Like it will really break your mask. So I recommend you double check those stuffs. Now I open up Wi-Fi and Topaz Gigapixel again because there are some areas that I consider too hard to mask, like those intersection between the neck and the armor. Like it'll be faster if you select it right away from the armor. And this is me being lazy, like I'm just masking by selecting the colors. Well, I usually do that for colors because it doesn't really matter that much. Now it's me like fixing the luminosity. You can see this histogram on the top right. It's to match the colors with the original. Like you might realize that the textures beforehand are a little bit lighter than usual. That's because I turn it from a diffuse to albedo, but well, I need to retain the colors. You can see again the cavities here. Now, with this technique, like the albedo technique, you can remove like unnecessary lighting and shadows, but retain the colors. Like it makes it better. To say that. Now I'm importing masks from other models because, well, I'm too lazy to actually select stuffs again. It helps with the process. That's why I always save stuffs in an organized manner. It's me trying to color, but I have a really hard time trying to find the right color for the eye. I ended up skipping it for a later time. I'm importing textures to add fine details to the model. I added denim for this one to make it more cloth, and a scratch metal for the armor. For these textures, I prefer to use the textures.com. Like they produce some high quality textures, and you can consider them quite free. I mean, you don't really need the high resolution textures because it's not like your model texture is really that high. Now you can see on the right, I put down some numbers. It's the numbers from the histogram. I usually use this to match the colors so that it's mathematically accurate. Yeah, I just love math. Now I open up Materialize to create the texture maps. Oh, and well, I fix the eyes first. Like I want to add like a bit of green and purple back there. I'm creating the gloss or the roughness, you can say. Different materials requires different values, so you can see I'm combining them all. And looking for references for roughness back there, like you can see me opening up the create color. Now I'm creating a metallic map. You can see the cavities are taking damage, so I need to cover it up and paint it all. And here's the substance painter, but you can see the UV is broken, so I open up Cinema 40 first to remove stuff that doesn't have the same textures right here, so I can paint it better. Now I add a custom chainmail and skin. Oh wait, not yet. Yeah, the skin right here. Like I match the scales stuffs. Now the teeth and the mouth. Well, I'm not actually using like a lot of this, but it's better to prepare for the worst. Now the problem with Materialize is that you cannot choose the output bit, so the height will always create a banding, and I really hate that, but I eventually found a fix for it. Like I'm just still trying to struggle on fixing it my own, like creating a different gradient map and stuff, but it just doesn't work well. And I'm fixing the height, like make sure which part is taller than the others, creating a normal map. Like I found like a really big banding and ended up using a smooth normal map and reduce the details, so I don't really like it. Now the eyes need a spatial normal map, so here's me matching the size all over. I open up the Substance Painter again to check stuff out. Now I'm matching the color for the chainmail because it looks weird. And here is where I realize I put the wrong normal format. Like there's a two normal map formatting, DirectX and OpenGL. I usually use an OpenGL map, but it depends on your program actually. You can see back there banding on the chest, like it creates weird waves all over. I can see like the map are not aligned well. I decided to change it. So now we're back on opening the Cinema 4D test. Like how will it look on the renderer? And it's actually pretty satisfying without the banding back there. Now, unfortunately, like a huge part of the recording was lost because my computer crashed in the middle of the recording. Like, I think it's worth 2 hours or so. Like, and I do a lot of things, but I'll try to sum it all. So, during this period, I downloaded Shader Map Pro and was able to export like a real height map, one with 32 bits, and recreate the normal map to a finer detail because I don't really need to mind the banding anymore. And I also changed the color for the code to a little bit of more sky bluish and changed the code into a much more silvery look. Also, I created a texture for the hair and the other parts of the code, like the one that's hanging around the feet. I've tried my best to recover this recording, but nothing I do can actually fix it, so I'm really sorry about this. But the rest of the video still have like, it's me here back. I'm fixing the hair opacity. It's not really visible from this angle, so don't really mind. I'm adding more lights because I'm going to add some particles later in After Effects. Now, oh yeah, I also changed the camera actually on the last part, and now I have to fix the background again. Added some bloom, change the saturation and saturation, the exposure and gamma again. Now the tree starts to become like a huge problem because everything starts to become like unbelievably heavy, and my renderer kept crashing, unable from rendering the tree. So in the end, I'm trying to find another tree, but nothing really helps with the render time. So I do a little bit of trick, like you'll see it later, that where I remove the leaves and put the tree higher so you don't actually see any branches or any leaves. And well, it helps the render like a lot. I'm still struggling like right here. You can see like I don't use branches anymore like there. I'm adding like more detailing here. These three biting a wheat, and well, that's about it. What I do on the Cinema 4D, and this is the final result from the 3D render. It took me like a long of time to render it. Now we move on to the After Effects part. Like you can see, we're trying to add particles, some particles actually. I wanted it to be both cyan and orange. Now I'm trying to create an aura around this part with Saber, but it's not a success. Not a success. Here I put an optical flare and a vignetting. Now I want to add like a little bit of cloudy colors with fractal noise, but also I don't succeed at it, so I ended up deleting this effect. So yeah, now render it as well as a PNG sequence, but only one frame, and put it on Photoshop back here, and add some more dramatic color grading. Now I realized that there's a little bit of banding, so I had to re-export it as PNG 16-bit. And here I add some more bloom, an effect that I forgot to add. It makes it more softer, as well as the noise. So yeah, that's about it on my process on making a WoW 3D art render. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And see you later.